You're watching Masters in Trading Live with Jonathan Rose.
Hey guys, it's Jonathan Rose and welcome to Masters in Trading Live. At Masters in Trading Live, I get on here every day the market's open. 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You be quiet over here. You be quiet. 11 a.m. Eastern, we're live too, so when I make a mistake like that, I can't start over. I just have to keep going. So again, my name is Jonathan Rose. I've been trading for 27 years. I'm out here in Chicago. I started trading on the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Then I traded at the Chicago Board of Trade. Then I traded at the Chicago Options Exchange. That's really where I learned how to value options to the penny. Now I get on here every day and just try to add as much value to you as I possibly can. I got the chat open. Hey, we always get on 10 minutes early. Say good morning. Shoot the shit a little bit. See what's going on for the day. So this week, we've been talking about earnings. We've had 3 days of our earnings classes. Last week, we talked about divergences. We had 3 days of divergence classes. And at the end of those divergence classes, we shared a trade in SMR. We took off that SMR trade yesterday, and we were able to lock in 100% on that free trade that we shared last week. Glockenspiel for us. Well, today, we are going to go over a name that I saw $25 million in call buying, less than $1 million in put buying. So there was a lot of interest, a lot of strong call buying in Palantir. That's what we're going to go over today. And I thought it'd be a good idea, since we've gone over our 3 days of earnings classes, let's go over the upcoming earnings in Palantir. And just like we've done this week, we're going to play that game. Is Palantir expensive or inexpensive going into their options release? So I'm going to move over to the share screen. You're still going to be able to see me, but just like we did this week, 0714 on Monday, we looked at Katos. Katos is the drone stock. We determined that Katos was expensive. The options were priced expensive. Then on Tuesday, we talked about MP. We did this whole analysis, and then we decided that these options too, those were very expensive going into earnings. If you didn't get a chance to watch those, please go back. You'll understand exactly how we look at these names going into earnings. But we're going to do the same analysis today for Palantir. Before I do that, I got to share with Snowman, starting with us with 4K in his account at the beginning of June, and it's now over $30,000. Bravo. And look at this one, guys. We've been swinging a hot stick, I got to be honest, and I think this just might be the best trade that I've seen in probably about 5 years since COVID. Because look at this, Unity Software. Unity Software is making a tremendous move. And I shared a trade in Unity Software after seeing an obnoxious amount of unusual option activity. Well, James, yesterday at the close, he was able to take off his Unity 27 strike calls at the end of the day for 170%. We also had the 26 strike calls. I think he made $95,000. And James shared that he made 150 earlier in the week on his MP trade, and he just did it again because James locks in 300,000 large on a Unity call spread. That is a heck of a trade, James, setting a very fine example for all of us, because that's a lot of money. That's very cool. So James, a lot of people are surprised to see these returns, but you put a professional in a very forgiving market, and you're going to see returns like these because that's how good the trade's been. Let's press on. Yeah, way to go, James. Here it is, guys. Palantir. Whoa. Let me get Mr. Penn. Mr. Penn, here we go. Palantir. I don't want to. Ooh, laser. Nah, let's go pen. Okay, guys, this is from yesterday. $25.4 million in call flow. Put flow is under $1 million. Palantir saw some just huge options activity, notably in the November expiration for Palantir. Now, last couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about how this administration either likes companies and they trade higher, or they don't like companies and those companies trade lower. We've seen this with the metals company, TMC. We've seen it with Katos. We've seen it with MP in deep sea mining with the DOD getting involved and now is the biggest shareholder of MP. Well, Palantir, I'm not sure there's a company in existence that's closer to the Trump administration than Palantir. A few things that I wanted to point out. Stephen Miller, Trump's deputy chief of staff and key figure, owns up to 250,000 Palantir stock. Palantir also won the ICE contract for its latest immigration OS system, but they won it with no bids, guys. They just gave it to them. Who wants this contract? I have an idea. Palantir. We didn't know you guys were sitting right here. Here, please, go ahead. Okay? Peter Thiel is a big investor and is the owner of Palantir as well. So this is from June. Miller's Palantir stake triggering an alarm over his ethical lapses when he awarded the surveillance contract. Palantir listed as the sponsor for Trump's militaristic 205th Army birthday. All of this, guys, it is crony capitalism. You have Alex Karp standing next to Trump whenever he's doing anything. This is a company the administration cares deeply about. Okay? This options activity, without a doubt, was bullish. Okay? Palantir, in my opinion, over time, is going to leave this chart and continue to trade higher. But we're going to look at it based on earnings because that's what we did all week. We've been talking about our different earnings trades. We talked about Katos. We talked about MP. Go back and watch yesterday's video. We shared a trade in Groupon after doing our earnings analysis. So let's go. We always want to know how sensitive is a stock relative to its earnings announcement. Palantir is very sensitive. How sensitive? That's how much Palantir has moved after its last earnings. So its last earnings report, it moved 15%, 28%, 25%, 14%, 15%, you see, right? I labeled the earnings on the chart. Palantir is one of those stocks that doesn't move a whole bunch, but all of a sudden when it has earnings, it makes really big jumps. So notice how much they move. Apple moves 2 or 3% after its earnings announcements. Why? Because Apple has the most market makers. It has the most analysts. It's the most liquid stock in the world. The more people that participate, the better valuation you're going to have. Palantir, there's so much uncertainty that this name is still moving 15% after its earnings, 28% after its earnings, 25%. Okay? So let's all together, guys. What do you guys think is fair for Palantir? Palantir is going to release their earnings. Let me just see when they're going to release earnings. My question to you guys is, how much do we think Palantir is going to move after its earnings? If we know that in the last 9 times, it's moved over 14 or 15% every time, How much do we think it's going to move this time? Do we think it's going to move 2%? Do we think it's going to move 8%, 14%, 30%, 70%? What do you guys think? If we just needed one number and said, you know what? I think Palantir is going to move X amount, and we just do a higher or lower, what would your number be? How much do you think Palantir can move? The earnings are August 4th. Talk to me. And I'm going to take the average of whatever you guys say, because this is how we're going to value Palantir. Okay, we have 30s. 30 is a little high, right? It's only moved 30 once. I like that. 20%, 18%. I like that. I agree with you. Okay? So now, we think Palantir may move 20% for earnings, okay? For next earnings. Okay, this is important. Yeah, everyone, 18%, 20%. This is the same thing. So if we think Palantir may move 20% for its next earnings, now we're going to value the options. And this is important, guys. So I'm going to go to my next slide. Again, we think that Palantir can move 20% on 08, 04. That's the earnings period. Okay? We have 29 days until expiry. 29 days until expiry. Now, how much is priced into the market? We've done this exercise. We go 25 divided by 152. 152 is right here. So now I'm just going to grab my little phone here. I don't know why I just called my phone little. And I'm just going to do together 25 divided by 152, 16%. Okay? %16. So the market has 16% for 29 days. We think it can move 20%. Right? If we think it can move 20% just for one day in the next 29 days, the market is pricing in only 16% of movement. Let's say we take earnings out. Let's say we take earnings out, which is August 4th. If we think earnings can move 20%, what do we value the other 28 days? How much can Palantir move the other 28 days besides earnings? The market right now is saying 0 because it's only pricing in 16%. Okay? So let me ask you, Brian. Brian says cheap earnings trade, not a bad find. What do you guys think? Is this earnings trade cheap or expensive? Really what I want to know is, do you understand why this is really, really, really cheap? Cheap. Cheap. Does that make sense, guys? Palantir is extremely cheap. It's pricing in 16% of movement. We know just by one day alone, we can get this amount of movement. It is extremely, extremely inexpensive. Okay? So when I talk about Palantir is high. It's strong as can be. It was trading 150 yesterday. After the unusual option activity, it's up another 2%, 3%. Going forward, the approach with this stock is you buy on pullbacks, guys. When you have an opportunity to buy, when there's a reason to buy, you want to buy on pullbacks. But I got to tell you, it is also a very, very, very good earnings trade for anybody that's interested in doing that trade. Now, I want to share one more thing. And I'm going to pull up the options. The trade that I hate is selling any kind of options in Palantir. You don't want to sell options because the exercise that I just walked you through demonstrated that volatility is expensive. When volatility is expensive, you don't sell options, you only buy options. That's what I think about Palantir, guys. That's what I think about Palantir. It was a good exercise, and actually, as I was going through it, I didn't know whether I was going to think it was cheap or inexpensive or expensive, but clearly, after going through that options exercise, it's really, really inexpensive. Okay? We have our all access community. Those are for the members in our Discord that we're going to continue talking about our open positions. So big shout out to James. Great job locking in another 300K. Thank you guys all for watching. Yesterday was our biggest audience ever on Master the Trading Live. I think the word's getting out. I greatly appreciate you guys all joining us. Everybody in our all access. We're going to be talking about a trade that we shared yesterday that had a major stock offering this morning that pulled back, and we're in position to buy some more. So everybody in all access, you guys hang tight. We'll be right back. Hey friends,